kids sports tee, as you see. Baby's clothing. This is a shirt for a toddler. I even have bodysuits for babies. And then going back, I have the category for also women. Tank tops. I also have polo shirts. I also have long sleeve shirts, as well as hoodies for women as well, and also for men. They have the same thing. Men tank tops, men t-shirts, got V-neck shirts, comes in a variety of colors, sizes. So, check me out if you would like to have some fashion that honors your ancestors and shows the world that you know exactly who you are and proud of it. Now, let's get into the video. And then here, it says Cemetery under the French Quarter, New Orleans. It says The Times, Picayune, New Orleans, Louisiana. It says workmen prying under coffins found in the French Quarter. And then it says lifting the lid of one of the 5 coffins found during the excavation at the corner of Toulouse and Burgundy Streets Friday. It says October is Louisiana Archaeology Month, and this week Tripod New Orleans add 300 digs into rediscovery of New Orleans' first cemetery. When you walk around the French Quarter, you see all kinds of tours going by: intimate horse-drawn carriage tours, ghost tours, architectural tours, but most tours don't touch one of the neighborhood's most significant landmarks. It says St. Peter Street Cemetery. And then I'm skipping down. There you see the person that they brought up, and then it says here, it says even more incredible, every person discovered was African or Native American descent. In the 1778 census, almost half of New Orleans' urban population consisted of people of color. In our group, they were either African or mixed African and Indian descent. But there's nothing that would allow us to say whether they were free people of color or if they were enslaved. Okay. Okay, it says here Afro-Seminole Creole, alternate name Afro-Seminole, Black Seminole, Seminole, Texas Afro-Seminole, Mexico Afro-Seminole, separated from the coastal Sea Island Creole between 1690 and 1760, similar to Sea Island Creole and Bahamas Creole. Now, we already know the people that's in the Bahamas are Indians, okay? And we also know that the Indians from the Caribbean and the West Indies and the Virgin Islands, they will come to America. They came to America. And a lot of times they came to the Carolinas and they came down south to what we know today as Florida. So it says here, it says lexical similarity, 90% of the Sea Island Creole. It says Afro-Seminole Creole is English-based Creole spoken by Black Seminoles in scattered communities in Oklahoma, Texas. Now you have to think to yourself, now, if it was something that was spoken among African people, then, and if this was an African tongue, then why is it that when they brought over the African slaves, that the American Indian people, they didn't understand the African folks when they came over here. And earlier in the paragraph, on this site, they had mentioned that it has a lot of African words in it, but I beg to differ, since a lot of our people, we don't even know any or remember any African words or terminologies for that matter. So anyways, it says here, Afro-Seminole Creole is English-based Creole spoken by Black Seminoles in scattered communities in Oklahoma, Texas, and northern Mexico. Speakers of Afro-Seminole Creole live in Seminole County, Oklahoma, and Brackettville, Texas, in the United States, and in Nacimiento de los Negros, Cocojula, in Mexico. There are also a few communities in Florida. There are about 200 speakers of the language. Afro-Seminole Creole is related to the Gula language, and we know the Gula Geechee people. They're in the Carolinas, and they are indeed American Indians. And it says a Creole spoken in the coastal region and the Sea Islands of the United States of South Carolina and Georgia. Okay, as you see right here, it talks about American Indians. It's Copper Hot Step. This is his Instagram. You can find him on Instagram at Copper Hot Step 2.0. And it says here, clearly it says, depending upon which European nations Black Indians had intercourse with or formed treaties with, also depended upon how their identity was eventually altered. Black Indian nations who had intercourse with Spain eventually became to be known by colonized titles of Latino and Hispanic. Black Indians who had intercourse with the French became known by the colonized titles of Creole, Black, French, and Haitian. Black Indians who had intercourse with the British became known by the colonized titles of Negro and Colored. Black Indians who became victims of British subjugation are still going through a colonized title changes for the moment. They're presently known as Black Americans and African Americans, which is true, because that was the last terminologies that they had applied to the people of American Indian descent. Okay, and it says right here, and it says many Africans that come to the United States in this present day and time know that most so-called African Americans are indeed Black Indigenous Indians. And then you see this image right here of Haiti. Haiti tried to become part of the African Union, and they rejected them because they know that they are, American Indians. And let's listen to this video
Africa,
here.
if it drew. Now that I see you in person, you don't look like a Black person. You look like a dark-skinned Latina or something like that, right?
Really?
Why would you want to call yourself Afro-Latina? Because Black people are so negative. There's nothing really good about being an Afro. And they pretend to be...
You're terrible.
No.
What?
And they pretend to be Afro-Americans when really they are Americans. They wouldn't even recognize Africa if it drew. Now that I see you in person, you...
Okay, so this is Kevin Gates, and it says his name is Kevin Jerome Gilliard, and he was born February 5th, 1986, and his mother is of Puerto Rican descent. So that means that she has probably some Spanish ancestry, some African ancestry, but also Arawak Indian ancestry, since that's the tribe that was there, prominent on the island called Puerto Rico today. And then they said that his father is of African American descent, but we already know, that more than likely that his father is probably of American Indian descent and may have some African ancestry as well. Okay, so, and as you know that, Kevin Gates, as of late, he has been pretty much saying that the people of Louisiana, which he's from, that they're all related, and that those people, that the Black people in Louisiana are indeed American Indians, and that all those tribes that's down there are all Indian tribes. And he had mentioned that on a broadcast that was on Complex. And as you know, like on this episode, he talks about being a Native American and how his father had hunted on those lands, and that his children are going to do the same. And you will see next that he's basically living on his own land with his wife and his children, and that they have their own farm.
Hold on. Niggas say I pulled an Indian out yesterday. Let me tell you something, sir. Sir, I'm not a Native American. I'm not. Well, I am. But anyway.
See that? Look at that work, bitch.
Yeah, you pressure. But look, listen. Hold on, listen.
Work?
Hey, listen. Listen. I never proclaimed to be none of that shit. But
I'm coming.
the land that I'm on is Native American land. And
man, that nigga came out the woods. We don't know where that nigga came from.
hey, and listen.
He was already staying back there.
And listen, the land that I'm on is Native American land, and these people have showed me shit about life that I never thought. So, like, these Native American people, I respect them so much. I just respect them so much because they teach me shit. Like, I like to learn new shit, and they just teach me shit, and it works. So, I just respect Native American people. Like, it's just what it is.
Okay, and in this video is by Intel Hip Hop, and it says Kevin Gates explains why he wears feathers on his head.
Let me clarify something. A lot of people say, Kevin, just pick a religion. I don't have a religion. Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life. Assalamu alaikum, that's it. To be Muslim means to be a believer. One God. Hey neighbor. Oh, my bad, I forgot. I ain't got no day. No neighbors. Carry on. A lot of people ask me why I wear feathers in my head and what's the significance of it. I'm about to show you right now. These are, I got red tail hawk feathers, I got geese feathers, I got turkey feathers, and they're very, very sacred. This was gifted to my wife by the Great Spirit, the universe, Mother Nature, if that's what you want to call it. And when I was sitting with the elders and the chiefs and the chieftess, and they was telling me about being one with the universe, and they was saying the earth is our mother. The earth has been here long before us, and it'll be here long after we leave. And I started saying that, you know what, the cure to a lot of problems that we have is to go back to the native way.
Out there.
In the sun? Let me be the. Can I please be the oil man?
The oil man.
I want to be the oil man, babe. Can I swear I'm gonna do a good job. I'm gonna oil you with some of that special shit, babe. I'm gonna have my turkey feather blowing. You know this turkey feather. It came from off our land because we have wild turkeys on our land. So, you know, when I wear my turkey feather in my head. I'm not about to tell you, but if you want to, you can go Google and see what a turkey means. It's a blessing to have turkeys on your land, so I wear my turkey feather.
That's pretty. Really
and on special occasions, I pull out my big feather. Oh God! Me and Drake pull out our big old feathers on.
I actually have to send you something about that. It was so cool.
About the turkey feather or about our feathers?
The other.
Man, listen, don't try to get out subject. You say you're going to lay in the sun. I want to be the oil man.
Please like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell so you can get all my notifications.